Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night. This presentation is going to be about whether or not U.S. government surveillance upon citizens is ethical. And the specific form of government surveillance I'm going to be discussing today is spyware. Now, the reason I'm discussing spyware in particular is because it is one of the most inconspicuous ways of tracking people's activity without being discovered. Now, there are definitely two sides to this coin. Before I get into that, I should probably discuss ethics as a whole in general. More specifically, I'm going to be discussing different codes to ethics. So here's some of the different codes of ethics that should be followed when making a decision, such as spying on people. So the first rule should be pretty easy to understand and obvious, and that's to benefit society. Now, and also being held accountable for the actions that you do. Now, benefiting society, I feel like is the purpose of ethics in general. You could even call it definition. It's what ethics is all about. So that one is a shoe-in rule, essentially. Now the second rule, which is avoiding harm, is kind of built upon the first one. And a way of doing this could be something like stopping a virus from spreading on someone's computer, or warning someone about an incoming threat that could be coming their way, whether it be on the internet or in real life. Following this rule could go as far as even saving people's lives. So I feel like it's a very important one to abide by. The third rule that I'm going to be discussing is respecting privacy. I feel like that's something that most people should do, but a more specific way to understand it is to make sure you have people's consent if you're going to view people's information inconspicuously. For example, there are many companies out there who use user data as a form of data collection and analytics, and most users don't even consent to it. So let's say we have a 19-year-old college student named Ethan, and he's just chilling on his computer during a Saturday night, just harmlessly goofing off with his friends on his Reddit server. But little did Ethan know that government agents were watching his internet activity through internal spyware. Someone who Ethan beat in a game of Call of Duty earlier that day joins his Reddit server as an anonymous user and starts throwing out threats to Ethan, saying that he knows where he lives, he'll hunt him down, he'll hurt his family, and things like that. And initially, Ethan and his friends simply laugh at him, just thinking that he's another shit talker on the internet. However, the government agents watching this find the fact that he's an anonymous user making such vulgar threats very suspicious, so they decide to look into him more by tracking down his IP address. And from the information that they were able to gather, they found out that he is someone who's been notorious on the internet for attacking other gamers and hunting them down for real, going to their houses, and attacking them and their families and also breaking their items. And this guy could potentially be a big threat to Ethan. Ethan is most likely his next target. So the government was able to track this guy down and stop him before he had the chance to attack Ethan. Now, a reason I would say that government surveillance upon citizens is ethical, especially based off the example that I just gave, is that it was able to benefit society. by avoiding harm, which ultimately benefits society. The more safer citizens, the better society is off because it's a safe place to live in. People feel more at ease. There's more peace of mind, and people aren't afraid to go certain places. So by the government tracking down the anonymous player and protecting Ethan, they potentially saved a life for all we know. Who knows what the anonymous user would have done to Ethan? Now, on the flip side of this action can also be unethical because they still invaded someone's privacy without their consent. In this case, it was Ethan. Ethan had no idea he was being watched by the government. So the government could have potentially seen things that stored on his computer that Ethan would have wanted to keep to himself. And if there's a scenario where there's a data breach, Ethan's information could be leaked for all to see. So that's definitely a negative aspect about doing surveillance on citizens. All in all, I'll ultimately say that government surveillance on citizens is ethical, simply because it benefits society more by protecting more people, avoiding more harm, and making society a safer place to be in. While invading privacy is definitely a negative and ethical aspect of it, I feel like the good outweighs the bad here, and stopping potential cyber terrorists or just terrorist attacks in general makes this action worthwhile and ethical. And that's about everything. See ya.